Let's talk capacity. So if you're new here, this conversation is definitely going to catch you up. But those of us that have been here for a little bit, we've been discussing capacity. We've been applying it to our lives on a daily basis and already can see the benefit of just adding this one little exercise or practice or a focus, however you want to call it. And so it really gets to be discussed in a way that benefits everyone so that you can come back to this video over and over again for a refresher. So what I'd like to do here is to talk about what capacity is, why it is important, but then eventually walk you through a really gentle, really easy practice that we've already been doing and loving the benefits of it. So that's what this video is going to be about. So when we say the word capacity, I mean it in the context of nervous system health, nervous system regulation, the well-beingness of it. First thing I want to say about it is capacity simply means space. So when we talk about it in the focusing on the body, focusing on the nervous system, it simply means room, space. The more room you have, the more you can take on in life and not get overwhelmed, right? Capacity is always in flux. There's no goal line there's no like finish line to have um, celebrated and finished and I've done it and I get to mark it off my list. Working with your capacity is a constant thing in the sense that it's always moving. It's either expanding or contracting, just like everything else in the universe. It has its own ebb and flow. Now, because we are emotional creatures, it is responding to our thoughts, our emotions, our environment, our decisions. So the capacity is responding to what's going on around us and what's going on within us. So this is why building your self-awareness would be really important because you want to be aware of what you're thinking and feeling. If you're in an environment that's overwhelming, you get to adjust. But the capacity, like being able to go in and expand capacity, is going to be one of those really important staples that you have in your life. It's one of the back to your basics kind of conversation. When life gets really crazy and loud and chaotic, going back to your capacity is going to be one of those staple conversations. Getting back to your basics, okay? I want to pause because I'm noticing a lot of energy in my space. So let me see what I want to say about it. When we talk about nervous system regulation, a lot of us understand what it means to be overwhelmed in the world. We know what that means. We have an experience, a memory, or maybe you're experiencing it right now. Like whenever you start feeling tight in the body and it feels like the chest is kind of closing in on you and it's hard to breathe, or you're recognizing that words are hard to come by. Your capacity is shrinking. It's contracting within your body. Now, yeah, you could probably spend a little bit of time trying to figure out why, but for this video, we just noticed that. We just noticed that that's getting tight, right? Whenever you're in the world and you are experiencing flow and ease, and you're just having the best day and things are just moving and flowing in your life, and there's this openness, there's this expanded kind of feel. That's your capacity in its expansion. So just having a little bit of context there so you know what to watch for, because your physical body will follow your capacity. If it's hard to breathe, capacity is coming in. If it's easy and flowing, capacity is moving out, right? So why we watch for that is because of our nervous system. We want to be able, I don't know about you, but I want to be able to do the things I want to do. I want to be in the world. I want to create things and meet people and have adventures and try new things. If my capacity is contracted, if I'm tight in this part of my body, I'm not going to have a lot of room for a lot of things. I'm not going to have space for what I want. I'm really only capable of managing what I have to, right? My survival, my comfort, my bare minimum. So I'm not going to have a lot of space for new things. And so this is where we talk about when we get overwhelmed, when we dysregulate, when our nervous system is in the fight or flight, when it's in fawn or freeze, when we're in the anxiety of life, when we feel like we just can't take one more drop of anything because it's going to spill out and overflow and we can't hold it together, right? These are things that people say without realizing they're talking about their capacity. They're noticing the overwhelm, they're noticing the dysregulation. And so a little bit of focus we do is coming in and regulating your nervous system and all of that. But regulating your nervous system is a good tool, absolutely 100%, but it can also be a temporary thing. It's designed almost as I don't want to talk down to it like it's not a good thing, because it is a good thing, but it's temporary. Regulation, when you regulate your nervous system, it's to bring it back to where you want it. But if you don't have the capacity, it's just going to get dysregulated again. And so a really good clue that it's more of a capacity issue and not a dysregulation issue is if you're having to regulate several times a day. That's a clue that it's a bigger issue. It's not just that you can't stay regulated, it's because you don't have the capacity for any more input in your life, okay? Want you to imagine if you have a really tall vase, right? And it's filled to the very tip top of water. And then you take another glass of water called the stress I wasn't expecting because my mother-in-law showed up unexpectedly, whatever you want to call this glass, pours into that vase. And the very first thing it's going to do, it's going to spill out. It's because the space is full already with everyday needs. And anything extra is going to overwhelm it. So when we talk about expanding your capacity, we would take that vase, and you would actually transform it into a barrel with the same amount of water. So what was at the very tippy top, dripping over the sides because it was so full, now that it's a barrel, there's just a little bit of water in the bottom. And now your mother-in-law and the dog ran away and the mailman like hit your car. Like now all these other things are coming in and you have capacity to handle them. Okay. I want to pause right there. I have no notes. I'm just kind of following inspiration. So I just want to kind of feel into that space to make sure I said everything I wanted to say. Yeah. So what we're after when we practice this, what our goal is to allow more of what we want, but also space of the unexpected, the things that we didn't plan for. Life be lifing. Life is life. So it's not that we're trying to control our environment to not overwhelm us, which is usually what we do when we're tight and contracted and we're filled up to the top. We then start trying to control the outside world to not pour anything else in our container. That doesn't work. We can't control the outside world. And so instead of trying to and putting all of our efforts in that control, we're just simply going to make more space for it. Okay. And then what that allows us is room to breathe, to explore, to be at rest when we need to be at rest, or be in action when we need to be in action, because now we have kind of some like wiggle room in there. It's not all tight and contracted. Okay. I can tell my capacity is a little tight today because I'm having to stop and breathe every now and then. And that's okay. It's been a busy day. That's my point. I thank you, spirits dropping in. What I want to say to that is it's not bad. It's not a bad thing when you have smaller capacity. It's simply to be noticed, and then you can do the exercise to open that space up. So we're not judging where the capacity is, we're noticing where the capacity is, right? So we're always being kind to where we are and showing up as we are, and then adjusting as needed. That's it. There's nothing wrong with it, because remember, it's always in flux. It's been a busy day. I cleaned out the refrigerator and wasn't expecting that. So then I got into a cleansing frenzy, and then I feel tight. Okay. I love my refrigerator. It's nice and clean. I'm so happy about that, right? So we just notice where we are and we show up for it. Okay. So on to the how. When you notice you want to do this exercise, you don't have to do it if you're tight. You can do it anytime you want, because it's not a rescue mission for when you're overwhelmed. It's definitely there for when you need it, but you don't have to wait until you're overwhelmed to do it. You can do it anytime you want. Okay. So the very first thing is we're going to turn eyes in, and we're going to notice, imagining however you want to imagine it. Like for me, sometimes I will imagine a clear cylinder tube that's holding my chakra system. So how wide that tube is tells me how my capacity is doing. So right now it feels like maybe like that. It feels a little tight right there, which is actually probably really good because I'm gonna do the exercise with you. And then I get to do it for real instead of pretending like I'm doing it. So maybe mine's about like that. I can feel kind of tight right here. I can tell I'm having a harder time breathing, okay? But the idea is to turn eyes in. So one of the easiest ways to do that is to close your eyes, put your hands on your chest, and then just take your internal awareness, your awareness, your third eye, whatever, into the body. Notice the body. So you can imagine it as a cylinder tube. Some people will, I've heard people talk about it. I've even used it sometimes too, about how, if it's a river, like the river moving through, like how wide is the river, right? Thinking about it like that. Um, I've even gotten really fancy, and sometimes it's a underground cave, like if I'm gonna go spelunking, like when I drop in on the cable coming into the cave, like how much room I have, can be anything you want, whatever you resonate to, whatever you resonate with. The key is just getting an idea of how much room there is at that moment. Okay, so it doesn't matter. So just take a moment and pause and feel that. Get a sense of, if you were to measure from point to point, right? From riverbank to riverbank, from cylinder side to cylinder side, from cave wall to cave wall, how wide is that space? We're just getting a starting point, and we're not judging where it is, right? We're being kind about that. You're just getting a starting point. So mine does feel about 4 inches wide, so it's about right there. So then once we have that, once you have an idea, a rough idea is fine. It's not a precision thing. You just want to have an attention to it, okay? You're then going to ask the wisdom that your capacity is. Just go with me. You're going to ask it, hey, is it okay if you expand 1 inch out? That's it. And then you're going to pause. right? You're just going to hold and just pause. Notice what you feel in the body. Notice how it feels. This is what's easy about it. You aren't forcing anything to happen. Just the simple request, holding the intention that there is a wisdom listening to you, the wisdom that you are. Just go with it. Just trust me on this. Asking it to open 1 inch more already happens. It says, yes, I can do that. And so then we just hold it. And so you're stretching it a little bit and you're holding it. So now I would say it's at 5 inches. So I would just, and I'd say thank you inside, right? Thank you so much. And holding it. You can hold that for a minute, 2 minutes, just holding. We're not doing anything, right? Being very soft and kind, slowing everything down. And then I would ask, hey, is it okay if you were to expand 1 more inch? And then it does. And then I'm at 6 inches now. So I would say, oh, thank you. That's nice. And then we hold. Nothing to do, nothing to figure out, nothing to fix or rescue. You're just simply enjoying that there's a little bit more space. Just enjoying it. I am enjoying that. I actually feel like I can take a softer breath, not so much of a forced breath, right? Just holding. And then I would ask, hey, is it possible we can go 1 more inch? And then it does. It's the simplest thing to do. All it requires is your asking it. Like I want to say effort, but I don't mean effort like hard work. I mean just you sitting down and doing it to put that attention on it. And it needs a little slowness. So you're not like stretch, you're not popping it open really hard. You're just holding and then opening and holding, opening and holding. And so you would ideally just go to a point where, it started at 4 inches. I might be able to go to about here. Like that feels bigger, but to go any further would feel like I was really forcing it. So you use your own instincts and intuition. Where is enough? Where does it feel like it's enough? And so you would simply hold. And that last mark, that last inch, you'd hold a little bit longer, like 2 or 3 minutes. And I know that sounds like TikTok, we've got things to do, but your capacity matters. So we're just going to hold it. And you're feeling it and you're enjoying it. You're noticing what's opening up in the body, right? You're keeping your attention in, eyes in, kindness, compassion. And then when it feels like it's time to be complete, you would just say, thank you so much. You can relax now. And then the capacity might relax a little bit. It won't go all the way back. It's not like a rubber band, but it might go in a couple more inches and just find a good resting place, right? A good resting space. And then that's it. That's it. That's the capacity exercise. There's a bonus. You could, when you're in this openness, when it gets to that last open mark, list all the things you're grateful for. All of them, just rapid fire. You can do it in your mind. Oh, that and that and that. Oh yeah, I love that. That was such a great day. And oh my gosh, I love blah blah blah. You could speak it out, which I actually recommend because then your own ears and your own mind is hearing your own voice. So that's actually quite lovely. You could journal it down, right? Get it in the brain through writing. But what's happening is when you open that space, nothing in space is empty. So you've opened space. So now fill it up with things to be grateful for. And scientists, I got to do a little bit of research on this so I can like properly quote the actual research. Scientists have found that listing gratitude changes the biochemical makeup of the brain. You're actually adjusting the way the brain works when you do frequent gratitude rituals. And so, why not, while you're here, spending 20 minutes or so opening your capacity, fill it up with gratitude? Bonus, bonus. That's it. That's the capacity exercise. That's the expanding the space so that you can hold more. Because there's also room in there in the conversation to hold more of what you're wanting, not just hold more of all the stress. Now you have space for adventure. And I do want to meet that new person for lunch. And I do want to make those phone calls to those potential clients. And yeah, I do need to go clean out my refrigerator, and I don't really have the capacity for that. So you get to take ownership of your experience and show up in a way that's very proactive instead of reactive, instead of trying to control our environment and mindset our way through that and use all the affirmations to be positive. Like, no, none of that's going to matter if your nervous system doesn't have the space for it. It has to have room for all of those beautiful modalities that we know we can do. I just want to pause right there, make sure that I'm saying all the things. I recommend doing it, especially if this is something that's new for you, 2 or 3 times a day. If you're someone that is prone to overwhelm and you know you can't take one more drop of anything else new in your life, definitely a few times a day, because this is a muscle and all that's happening is capacity is responding to our environment because it's trying to keep you safe. So when there's a lot of overwhelm or overstimulating environment, it's going to close in because it's trying to have you survive. It's reacting to the environment. So it's going to close down on you. Okay. Stressful thoughts. Oof. Oh no, I've got all these bills to pay. Oof, right? It's going to start closing in because it thinks it thinks you're in danger. So it's just trying to create a small target, shrinking in on itself. So if that is something, if you've been having a lot of chronic stress and anxiety, you're going to want to do it a few times a day because you're wanting to retrain your nervous system. We're not in danger. This is okay. And we're going to expand our capacity for a little bit more clarity, more intuition, more breath. Okay. So it's understanding the mechanics, and then you're the mechanic. So when you see this pipe getting clogged up, you're going to open that up and let it flow a little bit better. Good. Have fun. I know this is amazing because we've already been seeing the results in our group. So please reach out if something isn't clear. It is a bit more of an energetic exercise. So sometimes it takes a little practice to really connect to it, but don't give up on it. It matters. You're worth having more capacity in your life for more of all the things that you want to create and receive. All right, beautiful one. Have fun with that. I'll see you.